Has anyone told you yet? Every 50 seconds, another American has no place to call home. In just the past year, over 71,000 Americans officially fell into homelessness, the highest number since records began. And what's even scarier, they are not strangers. They used to be your neighbors, your child's teacher, the driver you greet every morning. The American dream, originally built on the foundation of a home for everyone, is now cracking brick by brick, and we are gradually getting used to ghost towns popping up in the heart of the city. Places that were once symbols of hope, of the American dream, of a thriving pace of life. Now they are becoming dark places, where abandoned houses outnumber residents, where communities dissolve in silence, and where people are swallowed by darkness without warning. In this video, let's step into the 10 largest cities in America that are collapsing like a real-life ghost town due to the homelessness crisis. What happened? And is there any way to salvage it before it's too late? Stay until the end, okay? And now, let's start with the first city, where the sun shines brightly, but thousands of people have to sleep under torn tarps or in cars right in the heart of a tourist paradise. Working 12 hours a day, paying taxes fully, not breaking the law, but then still have to sleep in the car. I'm not talking about a scene in a movie, but San Diego in 2025. It's hard to believe that just less than a decade ago, this city was still dubbed the most livable city in the Western United States. But then, in the blink of an eye, more than 10,000 people found themselves without a roof over their heads to sleep under. Interestingly, for every 3 homeless people in San Diego, 1 person has a job, from a place people come to for vacation. San Diego has become a place where many people have to get used to outdoor living. Ms. Janice, 52 years old, is an elementary school teacher. After her husband passed away and the medical expenses piled up, she no longer had enough money to pay for rent. She still teaches every day, still smiles at her students, but in the evening, she drove her old Toyota to the Walmart parking lot. A statement from her made many people ponder. "I teach you to dream about the future, but I can no longer dream." San Diego shows you a truth. You don't need to wait until you're unemployed to be homeless. Because even when you are working and have an income, you can still be evicted at any time. The average rent in San Diego, over $2,600 per month for a 1-bedroom apartment. The minimum full-time salary, only about $2,200 US per month after taxes. America, particularly the city of San Diego, has created a new class of people, working homeless. And does this make you reflect on yourself? People often say, why not try harder? But they forget the more pressing question. Why is effort still not enough? It is ironic that in a modern city, working hard no longer guarantees safety. But even in difficult circumstances, many homeless people in San Diego and elsewhere are still trying to maintain their dignity. Because perhaps what they fear more than losing their home is being abandoned. At Balboa Park, you will see a group of homeless people forming a cleaning crew. They organize trash collection around the tents. They organize bread distribution every morning for newcomers. Among them are former engineers, now guides, for those who have just hit rock bottom. If even a teacher, an engineer, someone who once had everything, can sleep in a car in the middle of a tourist city, then is it still possible to live well at this time? But the story in San Diego is just the beginning. The next city will make your heart ache even more when you look at the current state of homelessness. Have you ever wondered what the homeless people in Seattle look like? Well, they are homeless people who know how to leverage technology, live streaming from their tents. Seattle is the birthplace of Microsoft, Amazon, Starbucks, the heart of innovation, creativity, and wealth. However, right at the foot of those tech buildings are thousands of people living in tattered tents. But here lies the paradox. Seattle does not lack houses. So why are there still tens of thousands of people sleeping on the streets? Seattle has over 46,000 vacant homes, enough to temporarily resolve the entire homelessness crisis. But the city chooses to spend millions of dollars to push the homeless away from tourist areas. The question in Seattle now is no longer, is there enough housing? But rather, who we choose to live in it. Tyrell, 29 years old, formerly a hotel chef. After the pandemic, losing his job and home, he lived in a tent camp at the foot of the Aurora Bridge. He started live streaming his daily life. Scenes of cooking noodles with an alcohol stove, scenes of avoiding rain with a nylon bag, scenes of strangers giving him blankets. He shared, "I'm not asking for money. I just want everyone to see what life is really like here." And the most common comment on his videos is, "I used to live in Seattle in 1989. I can't believe it has become like this." It's hard to believe. The city, once a hub of technology, now has over 14,000 homeless people, the third highest in the entire United States, only behind Los Angeles and New York City. 70% of them do not have official shelter. They have to live in cars, tents, or outdoors. Notably, the rates of depression and substance abuse have more than doubled in Seattle's homeless community in just 3 years. People often praise Seattle as civilized, progressive, and worth living in. But who is no longer able to live in that dream? Seattle is developing every day. That's true. But is that development being traded off for kindness and humanity? Recently, a group of university students initiated the Warming Bags project. Each week they distribute sleeping bags, food, and clean socks to the homeless in Queen Anne and Capitol Hill. They don't live stream, they don't seek big sponsorships. They only believe that, if society has forgotten them, at least we will not. If a smart city like Seattle, as wealthy as Seattle, as civilized as Seattle, cannot take care of those shivering right at the foot of the office building, then which city can? You can wear a military uniform and be ready to defend the country for 20 years, but then you still have to sleep on a park bench after leaving the military. The bitter reality that seems like it could only exist in a movie script is happening right in the heart of Chicago, one of the cities with the highest rates of veteran homelessness in the United States. Every year, the government does not hesitate to pour billions of USD into urban reconstruction, building skyscrapers and expanding tourism. But for some unknown reason, they seem to forget the presence of over 68,000 homeless people, among them thousands of veterans and once stable workers. Is it possible that the development of Chicago is not evenly distributed among everyone? And is the affordable housing crisis affecting those who have made significant contributions? Harold, a soldier who served in the US Marine Corps for 2 decades, but when he returned, emergency housing programs were cut and mental health support did not arrive. Now he is one of thousands who have fallen into veteran homelessness in Chicago. Instead of sleeping on a soft mattress in a warm room, he has to sleep under the awning of Union Station. While month after month, shiny skyscrapers are being erected, the housing reconstruction project for veterans has been cut from the budget since 2022. They still say, the country will leave no one behind. But the reality is, those who once led are the ones who fall to the bottom first. But with the spirit of a soldier, many veterans strive every day. In the Uptown area, a group of 6 veterans established the Brotherhood Tent. They share hot meals, tell stories of their military lives, and help each other stay awake at night. No organization sponsors. No one visits. Only those who were once teammates continue to accompany each other in new challenges. Chicago is no longer just a place of skyscrapers. It has also become a symbol of urban poverty in America. Here, we see a clear example of social safety net failure, when those who once contributed fall through the cracks of the system. Have you ever met someone who served in the military, now living on the streets? If you have ever been a soldier, or have a relative who wore a uniform, what do you think they deserve more than this? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe at this point, you're thinking, I get it. This is an issue about homelessness, lack of housing, lack of subsidies, lack of luck. But no, everything is just beginning. The homeless workers, the forgotten veterans, the tattered awnings in the midst of the glamorous city do not fully reflect the current homelessness crisis in America. In the next part, you will see what no one dares to say about a city where, as long as you are poor, your existence is considered unacceptable. about the women who become the weaker party in marriage, about the homeless babies from the womb. If you ever thought homelessness was just an economic issue, keep watching, because you're about to step into the grey area of invisibility. On a small street corner in the scorching summer of Phoenix, there is a woman sitting quietly on a park bench. Not asking for money, not making noise. She just wants to rest for a while in the shade. But the strange thing is that everyone passing by looks at her as if she shouldn't be there. She doesn't belong here. Not because she is poor, but because she doesn't fit the mold that society deems acceptable. She herself felt it. No one chased me away. But their eyes made me know that I was not welcome. Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities in the US, with a dizzying pace of urbanization, skyrocketing housing prices, and a booming immigrant population. But this city also records many cases of homeless people being hospitalized due to the highest heat in the United States. But their stories are often rarely or perhaps never mentioned in the media, partly perhaps because of the unique characteristics of this city. Survey data shows that 1 in 4 homeless people in Phoenix have been denied housing simply because of their gender or mental health condition. Summer temperatures frequently exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and the law prohibiting sleeping in public places means people have neither shelter nor the ability to survive without being penalized. In a normal society, people debate the right to marry, to study, to work. But in Phoenix, some people are just fighting for the right to stand still without being noticed. But perhaps in the most difficult times, people will know how to create even the faintest hope for themselves. Recently, a volunteer group called the Safe Shade Project has set up mobile shade stations, providing water, umbrellas, first aid kits, and a listening ear. Especially since the founder of the group was once a homeless woman herself, now she has returned to help others and hopes they will have a better life. Phoenix is not the only place that remains silent in the face of what is happening. In the next city you will see, even when you are old, when you have dedicated your whole life, you can still be considered a burden. And that's when the pain no longer speaks. It just sits quietly by the roadside. San Antonio, the 7th largest city in the United States, experiencing rapid population growth. But there is another side to this city that no one has told you about. Behind the new roads and modern projects are more than 3,200 homeless elderly people, according to the latest statistics in 2024. Among them, many once had families, once had stable jobs, but lost their homes after just a small incident, illness, or the loss of a partner. The rate of homeless individuals aged 60 and older in San Antonio has nearly doubled in just 5 years. But 45% of them were once people with stable lives. Old age in San Antonio right now is not about leisurely enjoying life, but sometimes about finding a peaceful place to sleep through the night. San Antonio is not lacking in homes. There is no shortage of smiles on the travel posters. But this city is lacking in calls of inquiry, outstretched hands, and even kind eyes. Simple things, yet they are what the elderly always need. A group of young volunteers in San Antonio, the Silver Souls Group, organizes snacks, health checkups, and sits down to chat with homeless elderly people every week. No big budget, no media coverage. Just a simple saying, we cannot change the whole city, but we can help one person not feel invisible. But not everyone is lucky enough to meet a group like Silver Souls. In the next city, you will see, even places once called paradise are cracking day by day, and people no longer dare to stay too long, because staying means being kicked out. A street brightly lit with lights. On this side is the Louis Vuitton store. On the other side is a makeshift tent set up against the wall. Both are less than 4 meters apart, but it's the distance of 2 worlds that can never touch each other. Are we talking about New York City right now? If you live in that city, speak up. New York, a symbol of prosperity, of opportunities, of the American dream, where billion-dollar buildings rise every month, where tourists crowd to take photos with the dazzling Times Square. But it is also home to more than 100,000 homeless people, the highest number in the city's history, and in modern American history. A city with the fifth largest economy in the world, larger than the combined budgets of many small countries, yet it does not have enough homes for its residents. Isn't this a huge paradox? Alicia, 28 years old, used to work as a hotel receptionist. After giving birth to her first child, she lost her job due to staff cuts and couldn't afford rent. She once slept under the Brooklyn Bridge, then moved into the subway station so her child would be safer. During the day, she pretended to be a train passenger. At night, she quietly curled up in a corner of the station. She said, "I don't need much. I just want my child to have a full night's sleep. Not cold, not scared, not startled." New York has numbers that make listeners gasp. For every 80 residents in the city, there is one homeless person. More than 20,000 children are living in temporary shelters or outdoors. Notably, the city has over 250,000 vacant apartments unoccupied. The American dream of 2025 seems to have been redefined. Not something distant, but a place to sleep peacefully. We have built a city where only the very rich can truly live. So what about the rest? Are they surviving or being left behind? In New York, you can spend $5,000 on a dinner, but you can't find a room for less than $2,000 for a single mother. It's not a shortage, it's an invisible selection. If a city like New York, wealthy, magnificent, and one of the most modern, still allows tens of thousands of people to live quietly in the streets like shadows, then the next city will make you shudder even more, where the homeless are treated like criminals and kindness can be forbidden. When Hollywood stars are driving million-dollar cars, dining in restaurants where a meal costs as much as several months' salary of an ordinary worker combined, just a few blocks away, others are dreaming of a hot meal and a blanket. Los Angeles, the entertainment capital of the world, where the stage lights never go out. But just beneath that glitzy surface lies a vast network of tent encampments stretching from Venice Beach to Skid Row, a place dubbed the homeless city within the city. Hollywood creates fairy tales, but stepping out of the film set is a reality with no place to thrive. It is estimated that there are currently over 75,000 homeless people in Los Angeles, an increase of nearly 10% in just 1 year. Among them, Skid Row is currently the largest concentration of homeless people in the United States, estimated at over 5,000 individuals. Although a budget of billions of USD has been approved to address the issue, only 1/3 of the promised temporary housing has been completed on schedule. Could it be that an ambitious policy has been put in place? While the authorities are in a meeting, thousands of people are still sleeping in the streets. But this is what is worth discussing. In many areas of Los Angeles, distributing food to the homeless in public places is restricted. Some volunteer groups have been warned for causing neighborhood disorder. Meanwhile, residents are fined for putting up temporary shelters to help strangers avoid the sun. How far have we gone, when even shielding someone from the rain can be considered a violation? Do you think that in a city like Los Angeles, at least people can still dream? But in the next city you will see, the once thriving community is gradually becoming hollow, as if its soul has departed, leaving behind a place once called home, now just an empty name on the map. Philadelphia is the city of history, where America was born, where the working-class neighborhoods once buzzed with morning greetings, children playing on the sidewalks, and the smell of baked goods wafting every afternoon. But now, in many neighborhoods like Kensington or Strawberry Mansion, you can walk down row after row of houses without hearing a single person. Not because they are away, but because no one can keep a roof over their heads to stay. Philadelphia has over 45,000 people who are not stably housed, including thousands of children. In just 10 years, more than 35% of traditional family-owned shops in the center have closed. The once vibrant neighborhoods have now turned into rows of empty houses, filled with memories but no longer maintained by anyone. The city is not collapsing. It is merely emptying out little by little, each corner, each rooftop, each dining table. In Philadelphia, homelessness is not just losing a place to sleep, it is losing a place to belong. Those who once held hands to build the neighborhood now sit huddled in separate corners, as if they had never known each other. There is a type of poverty that doesn't lie in the wallet, but in the fact that you no longer have anyone to ask, "Hey, should we eat together?" But there are still a few rays of hope. At a small church in West Philly, every Friday evening, there is a long dining table. No matter where you come from, no questions about papers, no labels like homeless. There is only a handwritten sign, "Everyone belongs here." A person who once slept under the supermarket awning said, "There, for the first time in many years, someone asked me, 'Do you want extra vegetables?' Not, 'What are you doing here?'" If Philadelphia, the place that once taught all of America about freedom and kinship, cannot even keep a roof over the heads of those who built it, then in the next city you will see what happens when silence lingers and pain can no longer be spoken. A long street. On both sides are abandoned houses with broken windows, no one passing by. There is no sound. Only traces of those who once were here remain, and now no one asks where they have gone. Detroit was once the automobile capital of the world. There was a time when this place generated millions of jobs, bringing an entire working class into a golden era. But when the manufacturing industry withdrew, factories closed, and businesses left, Detroit became a symbol of an America left behind. Detroit has over 40,000 abandoned houses, unoccupied or partially demolished. The homelessness rate increased by more than 32% in just 2 years, especially in areas that used to have large factories. Nearly 50% of the homeless here were once workers in the automotive industry or related production chains. The so-called homeless in Detroit is not just about not having a roof over their heads, but there is no one left to hold on to their memories. Detroit doesn't make loud noises. There are no regular protests. It quietly loses people, jobs, and dreams. But no one asks why. There are cities forgotten not because of their fault, but because the country decided to move on without waiting for anyone behind. If Detroit, once a symbol of revival, American labor, and the middle class, is now turning into a modern ghost town, then we must ask ourselves, which city will be left behind next? Or is America itself gradually becoming a giant Detroit, without a roof, without a way back? A city once praised as the ideal model for solving homelessness in America now cannot keep the promises it once made. A homeless person said, "They say Houston is a place where the homeless can get help, but I've been here for 8 months, and no one has called my name even once." For many years, Houston has been praised by the media as the city that effectively addresses homelessness in the United States. The Housing First policy, a collaborative program between the government, non-profits, and the community, has helped over 25,000 people regain their homes. But behind that glamour lies a truth that few dare to speak of. Houston is overwhelmed. The system has reached its limit. As funding sources dwindle, housing prices soar, and immigration surges, the number of new homeless individuals is far exceeding the capacity to accommodate them. In 2024, the number of homeless people in Houston increased again, surpassing 20,000 for the first time in over a decade. The rate of people being forced out of their homes due to rising rents increased by more than 35% compared to the previous year. In the temporary camps, 1 in 4 people used to have full-time jobs. In 2024, the number of homeless people in Houston increased again, surpassing 20,000 for the first time in over a decade. The rate of people being forced out of their homes due to rising rents increased by more than 35% compared to the previous year. In the temporary camps, 1 in 4 people used to have full-time jobs. We have just passed through the 10 largest cities in America. From warm San Diego to blazing Houston, from magnificent New York to desolate Detroit. Each place is a piece of America gradually turning into a sad song, without lyrics, without an audience, and no one's standing up to end the performance. We often talk about crime, inflation, injustice, but perhaps the scariest thing is when a society becomes accustomed to the sight of people being neglected. If you have ever seen a homeless person and turned away, try to remember. That person might have been someone's teacher, someone's father, someone who paid taxes for 30 years. Now, they don't just need a house, they need to be seen, need to be named, need to be believed. They still have a place in the heart of America. If you have ever witnessed someone losing their home, or if you yourself have been on the brink of homelessness, please share your story in the comments. If you think this video deserves to be shared, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who are interested in the truth behind the glamorous walls. This video is built on publicly available data, reports from government and non-profit organizations, combined with published real-life stories. All viewpoints in the video are analytical, social, and humanitarian in nature, not intended to criticize politics, assign personal blame, or incite negative emotions. We made this video not to point out who is wrong, but to ask an important question together with you. Is there still enough room in America for all those who once believed in it?